Hello, this is Hooves of Doom, and this is my hobby journey for January 2021. The things I painted, what I did in my hobby, and my plans for next month. All right, so started off the year building and kind of assembling the Shadow Pain box set. And so a little bit of Daughters of Cain there, built some Hellstriders, had an extra chariot. Decided to go with the Hellflare build, just so I have one of each. I already have an Exalted chariot and a Secret chariot. I don't think any of the rules for these are necessarily that competitive at the moment, but I just decided, you know what, make it a completionist kind of one of each. So that's I spent about probably a week working on that, and then I turned to kind of painting. Now I started Age of Sigmar, and I really started almost my channel painting Slaanesh demons. And so it seems like a good spot in some way to kind of get back on that horse as I try to kind of embark on the long process of rolling back my hobby hoarding. So I kind of repainted quite a lot of my Slaanesh demons here. Mrs. Hooves originally bought me these demons maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and I painted them in kind of a bright pink paint scheme, which wasn't bad, but it's always been a little, a little bit uncomfortable with me. It's not something an army that over the years, I've grown to kind of not like the army as much as I once did. Mrs. Hooves, more importantly, absolutely despised that paint job. So I thought it was best to kind of get back into the swing of things here, especially with Slaanesh Hedonites coming out next month, and really just kind of redo some of this stuff. Now, a lot of it was a little faster than maybe normal insofar as I didn't need to do, all the base coating, but transitioning from kind of a pink to a dark purple did take a little bit of work. But I'm very happy with the result. I think I even pushed them a little higher quality than they were, and I'm very much more happy with the collection. There's only a few collections or paint jobs throughout my collection that I would reconsider doing a little bit of work, a little touch-ups, and this is by far the biggest project, and to get that behind me is nice. There's also a little bit of rebasing that has to be done. My Keeper of Secrets, I think, is on like a 60 millimeter as opposed to 100. My Fiends of Slaanesh are on like 40 millimeter. So all those need to be changed. The base scheme I had was actually kind of coming apart. Like the glue was kind of not holding it together as it should have. And so I switched to kind of my painted basing scheme. I really like that a lot. It's definitely in the back of my mind that Demonettes will probably be rebased on 32s at some point in the future, but for the time being, I think this army is looking very nice. I'm very excited. Can't wait to see what they do with Hedonites. So, I did about, a couple different characters. I did a Herald of Slaanesh, the old Mask of Slaanesh, 5 Seekers. Those are probably the hardest ones to repaint. I think they were just probably too many layers. I have about 10 more Seekers to go until those are finished. I did my old Demon Prince, which I think he looks way better than he did. I think that was a huge improvement. And 54 or so Demonettes. And I'm almost finished with those. I have about 5 of the existing models that I had, and I have another 10 that came in the Shadow and Pain box set. Now, this month, I guess, was just carbon neutral, so to speak, in terms of models. Didn't buy anything, didn't make progress in reducing my backlog, but I think I'm in a very positive spot. I'm very happy with the type of work I did this month, especially since I was working and juggling that and creating a few videos. I consider that to be a success. next month, I no doubt I will start to whittle down the backlog. And for me, like, not buying models and actually saving up my spending money from a previous month, that's a huge accomplishment in and of itself. That's very rare for me to do that. So I'm looking forward to what I can do in February. Hopefully finish up what I have and then start working on a little bit of the backlog. I still have my Keepers, my Fiends, Exalted Chariot, a regular Seeker Chariot, about 5 Seekers, and then I'll be working into the backlog. And so I think that's doable. That's on the horizon. Now, what will happen with the Hedonites? I don't really know. I hope they come out sooner rather than later. If I get to a point where I've finished all the models on my desk and I still don't have Hedonites in my hands, I might switch and do Night Haunt. I don't want to have any downtime. I really want to just push forward with a different project if that happens. I really do hope the Hedonites are coming out soon. But I'm also, I'm optimistic, but I'm also skeptical that GW can actually, GW can provide the type of release schedule that we've been expecting. There's a few hiccups in their supply chain going on. The fact that Space Marine codexes and Necron codexes are like rare. The fact that I can't get one for 3 months, and the Games Workshop store can't get them. My independent retailers can't get them. They seem to be held up in the printers in China, right? So there's some sort of problem there in their in the movement of their consumer goods, and that doesn't bode well. Now, I don't know if there are other ramifications here, but just think of all the releases in the past couple of years that were previewed, in some cases several months before the models are actually released. I don't know if Hedonites will suffer this type of fate, but it just makes me wonder, like, okay, the book's on pre-order, but you might get it in summer, by the time you can actually order it. I don't really know. Things will, we'll see how things go. I will say I was just down at my Games Workshop store yesterday. The store manager basically said that everyone in his region is not expected to meet their goals for this month in terms of sales. And it seems to be more of an issue of lack of product. Like, I don't know what your Games Workshop store looks like, but about a third of the shelves at mine are just empty. There's just no product. So that's a problem. So we'll see how the pandemic and these other trade issues and production issues impact the hobby. Hopefully Hedonites does come out and it's on schedule, but there's also so many other models in the pipeline. Curse City, more 40k, tons of Lumineth. I don't know what the priority and the order of these are and what will happen. We'll let it go. If I end up painting all of my Slaanesh and I'm still waiting, I'll just switch armies. I'll do something else. Later this fall, if the pandemic's under control, hopefully, I'm really hoping to maybe make it to Holy Havoc outside of Chicago. It's a team tournament I've attended twice before. It's always a lot of fun. There are a couple competing events that make me, second guess that type of decision. I think the Du Bois tournament in Upper New York is roughly around the same time. But I have a special place in my heart for Holy Havoc. I attended the first one with Mrs. Hooves. Good chance to meet some of my friends there. And so far, I've managed to convince Ryan Taylor, a friend from Colorado, to kind of go with me. And I think we're going to team up. It's a long way off. Things can happen between now and then. But so far, the plan is to team up and go. And I think we might do Slaves to Darkness, or who knows, right? Plenty of time between now and November to get an army together. But that's a really great event. Beautiful tables, great players. So I'm looking forward to maybe going back to that. And, the games I played in the past month. Well, played a nice little game of Warhammer Underworlds by the Fire. That was nice. We also played a couple games of Age of Sigmar. Again, really nice. I don't like to push Mrs. Hooves too much, and she's my primary player at this point. When the pandemic eases, I know I can get a lot of games of 40k in. My friend Paul Conti from Warhammer Radio Free Hammer Hall isn't too far away. And so I think he can come up and play a few games with me. Otherwise, it sounds like I'm going to have to try to reboot AOS in this area. That seems to be constantly my position in this hobby. Lots of friends, lots of networking in AOS, but absolutely no local games. I don't know what's the deal with me in AOS. I can get lots of 40k games in, I'm sure. But we did play 2 games this month. My wife plays her Night Haunt. She's sticking with one army until she really knows it really well. Although she's hinted she might want to play some Idoneth Deepkin in the future. And I was playing Ogre Maw Tribes. I like to try armies out. Probably play 3 games and then switch, try something different. Gives me a sense of what the army's capable of and kind of just roll some dice and see. There's sometimes a disconnect between what it looks like on paper and how it plays. And I find ogres are kind of one of those where I thought, oh, that tyrant's going to really do some work. And it really always seems to just miss all its attacks. And, there's certain units in that book that are not great at all, clearly. Others are pretty good. But, knowing that type of combination is just through practical experience. So I like to play that. And it ended up fairly well. She rolls really high sometimes, randomly, right? But she got some really good charge rolls in the first game. Really key charge rolls that were high. And when they roll over 10 or more, they get an extra round of attack when you're playing Night Haunt. And I added a Morgul onto her list. We were playing 1,000-point games. We upped that to 1,500. And I added this Morgul. And I kind of felt bad when at the time I was like, I don't know if this is that competitive of a thing to add on. But I'll tell you what, if it gets an extra round of combat, 8 attacks turns into 16. She's using Lady Olinder. She has that nasty little spell that minuses 1 to hit for you, and people Night Hunt that are attacking the unit are +1 to hit. So a Morgul that is +1 to hit, and me hitting back at -2 because the Morgul also has an effect like that. Oh my god, that was terrible. Morgul just killed everything, and there's nothing I could do about it. So brutal. The second game, however, I did squeak a win out through points. Because we haven't played tons of AOS, learning to play the objectives is probably a little hard for Mrs. Hooves. She likes to just run in there and kill stuff. I'm kind of always thinking, you know what, you should probably go for this objective. But there we go. But it was fun. A lot of fun. And I'm hoping to tease Mrs. Hooves into Kill Team. I have all these other types of armies. I have some Necromunda, I have Blood Bowl, I have Adeptus Titanicus. I would love to dip my feet into these and play them a little bit. I just need an opponent. And so, to dip my little feet in a little bit into the 40k Kill Team sphere, I'm going to convince Mrs. Hooves, I think, to play a game or 2 with me, and we'll see how that goes. We put her warband together last night. Sisters of Battle, which I think she will enjoy, and we'll see how that goes. I'm really excited to get to a point where I have 2 painted armies, tables fully painted, and then I would consider doing some battle reports and things like that. Very casual. I want to do a casual Warhammer battle report. No competitive lists. Every time I look at a competitive list, I don't understand it. But there you go. So the collection resource I'm building for Games Workshop models, I've really been putting some time into this. January, put some sizable time into it. I finished up all the Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar models. That was about 1,200 models in terms of unique images of kits and sculpts. So 1,216 products produced by Games Workshop there. Now there's more than that. I haven't dipped into Old Hammer, but that's what I have for Fantasy and AOS at this point. And it certainly includes all of AOS. There's no doubt about that. And then this month I wanted to get through the morass of Space Marines. I finally did that Friday. Made it through it. I did all the Dark Angels, the Grey Knights, the Blood Angels, the generic Space Marines, everything. And that was about 557 kits or sculpts. So just to kind of give you a sense there, that is both Games Workshop and Forge World, but the fact that Space Marines alone, equate to almost half of the entire fantasy range is one of the indications of why Games Workshop makes so much off Space Marines. It's a huge thing now. Many of those kits are not popular, right? There's all sorts of products for Space Marines that are not good on the table and people don't buy. There's all sorts of things through Forge World that I've personally never seen anyone have. Doesn't mean people don't, but certainly not probably top of the meta. So upcoming videos in February. Warhammer Etymology is going to focus on Stormcast. Probably multiple videos, maybe like 2 or 3 parts is what I'm thinking. I think if I try to do a single video, that might be a little long. So I'll play that by ear. We'll see how many of those. There's all sorts of like little small discussion commentary videos I have planned. A couple on 40K, a couple on Age of Sigmar, and then at least one fairly robust Warhammer and Classics video, skewing a little more into 40K for that one, but hopefully still enjoyable. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please consider supporting the channel by commenting on the video, hitting that little like button, and subscribing for more Warhammer content.